A new book details the dramatic effects that digital devices can have on today's tech-savvy kids. It's called iGen, Why Today's Super Connected Kids Are Growing Up Less Rebellious, More Tolerant, Less Happy, and Completely Unprepared for Adulthood, and what that means for the rest of us.
Oh boy, lots of work. Author and psychologist Jean Twenge coined the term iGen for kids who were born between 1995 and 2012. This is the first generation to spend their entire childhoods with smartphones and social media. Twenge reveals they are getting less sleep, postponing sex, and even delaying getting a driver's license. The book is published by Atria, that's an imprint of Simon & Schuster, which, by the way, is a division of CBS, and Jean joins us at the table. Hello, Jean.
Hello.
We all sort of are clutching our pearls about their delaying their driver's license, because didn't we, guys, when you turned 16?
So wanted that.
Yeah,
It was freedom.
Yeah, it was the first thing you wanted to do was go to the DMV, but you said they delay the driver's license, they don't get a summer job, they're delaying sex, they're hanging out with their parents. What is happening with this group?
Yeah, so it's so common for people to say, oh, you know, kids are growing up so quickly these days.
You say growing slowly.
But they're growing up more slowly. So with teens, so 18-year-olds now look like 15-year-olds used to in terms of the things you mentioned, like getting a job and driving.
Do they act like 15-year-olds, 18-year-olds?
Well, in some ways they do. They just haven't had as much independent experience. But yeah, the driving one really struck me too. There was one young man who told me, well, I didn't get my driver's license because my parents didn't push me to get my license. Which to a Gen Xer like me, wait, what are you talking about? It's the other way around, that it's the kid pushing the parent.
So is it smartphones the cause or something else?
So with this trend of growing up slowly, there's a bunch of causes going on. It's a really broad cultural trend with drinking alcohol less and not getting a job and not dating as much, not having sex during high school. Its overall development has just slowed down, that teens are just taking longer.
But why?
So the why question is always a little hard to answer with this, but it's probably, at least partially, because people have smaller families, they expect their kids to go to college, they nurture them more carefully, and then these trends started to accelerate with the smartphone, because a lot of them have to do with getting out of the house. And when you're talking to your friends all the time, when the party's on Snapchat, you don't have to drive as much or go out without your parents as much.
I thought this was fascinating. You write of the iGen's mental health, quote, there's not a single exception. All screen activities are linked to less happiness, and all non-screen activities are linked to more happiness. That's the research?
Yeah. So if you look at these big national surveys of teens that ask them what they do with their time, so things like homework, sports, reading, getting together with their friends, all of those non-screen things, they're all correlated with greater happiness. And you think about anything that's done with a screen, texting, social media, TV, online, computer games, all of those are correlated with lower happiness.
You talk to so many iGens all around the country, and one of the reasons you say it's important to do that is to talk to this group at the same age, so you get it from them rather than older people comparing what they're going through.
Right.
What was your overall takeaway when you talk to the different groups and compare them to the millennials?
Yeah, so I drew from survey data on 11 million young people that's been collected since the 60s and 70s, then about 200 in-depth surveys, and then about 25 who are interviewed in depth. And really, I think the smartphone's one of the keys in explaining why they are so different from millennials. So, for example, that their mental health has really trended downwards, starting around 2012.
Should they have smartphones?
Well, that's the question, right? So if you look at that link between smartphones and unhappiness or suicide risk factors or depression, what they suggest is it doesn't really harm to spend, say, up to an hour or even an hour and a half a day with a screen, but 2 hours and beyond, that's when you start to see the link to these mental health issues.
That's interesting, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
One quick question, how did you, you're a mom, how did you change your own behavior with your kids?
Yeah, so the day I analyzed that data, looking at screen time and unhappiness and depression, I took my kids' tablets and put them in a drawer.
Wow. So there's a lot of flip phones at your house. Flip phones. They don't like you, Jean.
They didn't seem to mind. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah. Really, this is really important. Thank you so much.
Thank you
very much. Jean Twenge. The name of the book, iGen. It goes on sale next Tuesday. That's August 22nd, wherever you like to buy your books.